Welcome back again to the special corner, and it's me, your host, Marvi. So today I have a super beautiful, special guest, and here with me I have the beautiful Tenny Dade. So nice to have you on the show.
Thank you, Marvi. I'm glad to be here.
How do you feel?
To be honest, nervous a little. First time on camera, actually.
Wow.
So I look forward to it being an
Don't
awesome
worry,
time.
we are together. I'm your pal. I'm your pal. It's so good to have you.
I want you to it.
Okay, so Tenny is a certified special need therapist who works with Candlelight Foundation. So it's really something beautiful to have her here to talk to us about some certain things, some juicy topic I know that you're interested in. So let's get right into it. So Tenny, as a special need therapist, I know you work with a lot of children, and you even have clients that you work with and all. But I've always wondered, when you work with children who are extremely violent, and you know we're always preaching inclusivity in schools, that all these children should be put together with normal children so that they get to learn and all. But when you have a child that is constantly hitting other children, constantly violent, do you advise them to still put them in the same class when you know that they can harm the other students?
Firstly, if the origin of a cause is not known, you will just recommend or prescribe any solution you deem fit for such a scenario.
Smart. Wise.
So now, when you say a child is being violent to other kids, let's start with the upbringing. Now, for most children, that is the only way they get to communicate or capture their parents' attention rather. Because when a child is already used to neglect, not getting the needed attention, social interactions with the people in his or immediate environment, the child has cried. Crying did not work. The child has refused meals. It did not work. So since the child knows that, oh, my parent, when I get destructive, when I do this, when I do that, it gets the attention more, and I'm able to retain and sustain that attention, they keep at it. So let me just explain it using this Yoruba adage. Of course, I'll translate it loosely. It says that Boju omoko bamala ala lala sodini. That when a village individual, somebody who has been in the rural setting for a long time, becomes exposed to the city life, is usually to the extreme, because such individual did not manage the exposure. So now, how am I referring, or what do I mean by this? Now, when a parent who is a first-time parent, usually, if you notice, most children that tend to be showing violent streaks is usually either the child is a first child, or the child, maybe they've been seeking a female for a long time, and that's the only female in the midst of 5 children, or maybe it's the only male, and that's the last born. So those are the 3 extremities that parents now apply to such a child. And you see them when the child start throwing gadgets, hitting the siblings, they be like, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. No, that is not allowed. Please, I can imagine my Nigerian people. Please, if it was your own house, would you say, stop it? That is not good. Now say sorry to your sister.
They call that gentle parenting. They say parenting with love.
Yeah, and then you should use your inner voice. Yeah, so I'm using my inner voice for a boy or a girl who has been showing violent streaks. Now, how do you notice a child that is going to be violent or showing those streaks? I remember when I did my postgraduate diploma in education, my lecturer, my developmental psychology lecturer said one thing, that you would have known when the child, you are breastfeeding the child and the child bites your nipple and they smiles.
But I thought all children bite the nipples.
For some of them, they do it when they are teething.
Okay.
You know, to ease pain, to have something to munch, so that it can relieve the pain or discomfort that they are feeling. Yeah. But for some of them, they're the ones that end up smiling. So you see, and then I remember my lecturer then just like he said, he just do like this,
yeah,
and then the child won't do it again.
Okay.
So from that, you must have known
that the child that bites the nipple and smile consciously,
and does it repeatedly.
You know the child knows what he or she is doing.
I remember when I used to be a secondary school teacher, so there was this topic in home economics, yeah. So the topic was talking about developmental stages of an individual, and I remember when talked about when the child is like 6 months, that's when conscience steps in. And conscience is our God-given gift, ability to know when we do something right from when we do something wrong. I'm an economics secondary school teacher at the time. Then I was taking a GS3 class. That's when I stumbled on where they're talking about developmental stages of an individual from 6 months, where the child already has the gift of conscience to be able to know right from wrong. So from that stage, child already knows right from wrong. So it's not left for the environment, like the philosopher says, that what a child is a product of nature and nurture. So when that happens, when the environment that ought to imbibe all these social skills necessary in the child is missing, you see such child throwing tantrums. And then continuous, how do I put it now, aiding and abetting of such behavior tells the child that this is the way to behave. So when the child finds
to be violent to communicate,
to get attention, I have to communicate to get what I want. So you see such children, when you now bring them to a school who has or practices the inclusion policy in their school, their first response to such a new environment to translate, to adapt is violence. Then you see them, for some of them, probably they may not even start hitting their classmates. They carry out this self-injurious behavior. They start hitting their head furiously, and this is so freaking painful.
I noticed when they do that, like they just do this recurrently.
For some of them, they do this. Why? Maybe they don't have that immediate opportunity to interact with their peers. Probably because they are trying to still understand how it works. So they transfer the
aggression
to themselves. For some, they find a sharp edge, maybe the table edge or something to just ease the pressure, the emotions in their head. I'm not having my way. I need them to listen.
These are because the parents didn't actually understand when they were communicating with things that were less violent.
Exactly.
Wow.
So now that you are working with a case that the child is already violent, maybe we're looking at the child of 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, what do you do? This is where the aspect of saying no, using social stories. What are social stories? Social stories can just be small paged pamphlets stuck around, trying to tell them, I will use my inner voice. I will be kind to my classmates. I will learn to help others.
Instructions for them.
Of course, they will have pictures demonstrating such phrases, such sentences, so to guide them. And then also, children learn by modeling. So the parents are expected to model the expected behavior. Now, you can't expect me. I'm shouting, exchanging words with my husband. You need to listen to me. No. I just want to shout it. I'm the head of this house. You can't tell me what to do. I've told you what I want.
Seeing all this, it tends to fuel the aggression.
So the child just takes it as the norm. As the norm.
Wow.
And then when the child now goes to such a school, now sees that no, they don't shout.
He's shocked.
He's shocked. So the first response of the child may be two: either to be quiet or to respond in like manner that he has been used to. So it now takes an intuitive or experienced educator, not necessarily somebody experienced in the field of special needs, to now be able to deduce what exactly is wrong with the child. So key observation is necessary to be able to manage such challenging behaviors.
Wow, that's amazing. No, so you mentioned something that I wanted to address. When you said about parents that use inner voice, when they should actually be disciplining their child. So where do we draw the balance between knowing when to discipline the child and knowing where to correct this child in love?
Now, parents have different disciplinary measures. For most parents who do not appreciate the use of corporal punishment and what have you, may probably be their upbringing that, growing up, their parents use a lot of belts, cane, wires, what have you, to correct them. So, I had the privileged opportunity to work with a child, to be asked rather, to work with a child who had a severe case of ADHD. So, why didn't I end up working with the child? Let's say the father's profession just told me is wisdom to choose your battle wisely.
What did the father do?
So, I never got to meet the father. I got to meet the mom. Very sweet and pleasant, a woman. But Firstly, there's anything being a special needs therapist, educator has taught me. Wow, is this extreme patience and learning to unlearn some of my orthodox ideologies and staying humble per moment, per minute, per time. So when I met this boy, he had already destroyed everything. You know, he destroyed the window. He destroyed the mom's phone. I think then it was iPhone 13 Pro or something that was raining on the floor. I was like, I was taking notes. You get? Then also, it took the adapter that was supposed, this step down adapter in case of power surge. He threw it at the TV.
Oh my God.
And all the while, the mom was talking to me. And then
Wait,
as mom
that was happening when...
Yes, when she was talking to me. So as she was talking to me, the boy came again, used the heel of his foot to hit the mom in the mouth. And they were like, oh, stop it. So I was just smiling as though I didn't even know what was going on. So we got talking. The mother had a guest. He did something unpleasant. I think the mom had to step out. And he gave the mom's guest a hot slap. Wow, it was really loud. I shook to my bone marrows. Really.
Wow.
I was like, is this what I'm going to be working with? To be honest, I was like, is this what I'm going to be working with? Nah, a child who knows no boundaries.
But they didn't teach the child boundaries. Is it the child's fault?
I'm glad you said that. I didn't have to point that out. Now, from the narration, you could deduce that he wasn't taught boundaries. So I thought too, till he did another thing. You know, these Montessori learning materials are usually made of wood. Yeah. So he took one and he hit the elder sister with it. The elder sister was crying. And the next thing the mother said was, apologize to your sister now. And he was unruly. He was like, no. He threw the toys up to eat the bulb at the ceiling. I was like, no. I was just telling myself, no, I
can't work with this.
No, I was like, if I'm going to work with this child, no, I have to consider the financial implication.
Oh, because it's going to be demanding, right?
Aside the demands, when the mother and I got talking, I just did Ghana weaving. So the hairstyle is called Etisalat. This all back Ghana weaving attachments. I was talking with the mom. So you can imagine when you just finish painting Ghana weaving, how painful the hair will be. And then the boy came and pulled my head down. I was like, guess what I said too? So let's call the boy Sean. So I said, hey Sean, stop it. Don't do it. And then the mom was like, no, I needed to be stern. And I was like, but you were complaining that I needed to use my inner voice. What exactly do you want? That was my thought.
She didn't know how to draw the balance between when to be
So I noticed that because she was only able to draw the balance when it applied to just the boy and the family, but not to a third party like myself, to an outsider, to a stranger like myself.
So after that, she expects that after that should be stern, but people inside
still be loving.
Should still be loving.
Because she's of the opinion, she actually belongs to this school of thought that, speaking in love, correcting a child in love, we do the work. But this is a child who's already 7.
And it's very violent.
And for children like that, tough love is what works for them. Now, I'm not an advocate for punishment. If you have been privileged to meet me, work with me, interact with me, you will know I love all children. I've been given the privilege, opportunity to work with. I love them all. But knowing where to draw the line is what matters.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like and drop a comment below. And also subscribe and hit the notification button here. It's not that hard, so you don't miss any notification from CLSN. And now, back to the video. Okay, we have our audience sending some questions and we'd like you to give answers to their concerns, their questions and all. So we might not be able to take like a lot of questions because of our time. So we'll just like take a couple, probably even one. So we have Amara from Aba that sent in a question. Amara, we love you and thank you for sending your question. And for others that want to send their question, you can drop in your question with the email that's showing on your screen. So let's take Amara's question. So Amara says, my daughter only eats certain food, and when I try to give her anything different, she gags or spit it out. People are saying that I'm spoiling her, but I know it is not that simple. I just don't know how to fix it. So what would you advise Amara to do?
A child gargling on any meal given to him or her is something to look into keenly. Now, from birth, from the time of breastfeeding to when the child starts accepting a different meal apart from breast milk, the mother would have been noticing the child's preferences. Now, I'm going to explain it in the light of introducing a new meal to the child. Now, for most children, they tend to be picky feeders. But does that mean that we would encourage that? Our African mindset says no. Yes, but the Western culture says yes.
Exactly.
So I'm going to answer this as African as possible. And of course, I'll try to answer it in the Western manner. So as Africans, Yoruba will say, that it is what a mother has that she will give her son, her daughter, give her child. So for example, the child is not taking moi moi. So why is the child not taking moi moi? Probably the child has some allergies to how the moi moi is made, or too many images. The too many distraction, obstacles in the moi moi. Exactly. And maybe the child just loves the moi moi plain. So how do you do it? What do you do to make the child love it? You include the moi moi with other meals that the child loves to take. You cut it into bits and then you eat it too with the child. So the child can stand and you make really, I'm enjoying these food faces. Oh, yummy. And there's usually a particular individual in the family that the child enjoys spending time with. It can be the father. Most children tend to prefer the father moment to the mother moment. Why? Maybe I've noticed that usually because of the fact that the father is not usually available. So the few moments that the father is available, he is intentional about making spending quality time with the son, with the daughter. So the daughter or the son tends to prefer time alone with the father than with the mother. So when that happens, you can just tell the father, honey, please can you just eat this moi moi with Zion?
That's when you see father start doing
and then they eat it.
Yes.
So I once had to work with a child who was picky about the food, and guess what? When I had a male colleague to come in to work with me, guess what my client did? He put his legs on my male colleague's legs, and then he sat back like this. And then at that point I was like, I was feeling jealous. Well, I'm a hard lover, call me that. I was like, I've been in your life.
I didn't give me the special treatment.
And then it was all smiles. And then my colleague encouraged this client of mine to take his meal. And he did, cooperatively. Wow. No hassle.
No stress.
No stress. So another thing, you can, for example, most children with special needs don't really like fruit. So you can puree the fruit rather.
Okay.
You blend it, make it into a smoothie. What have you. For some of them who has challenge with chewing and swallowing, you can just make it into a porridge or pottage form, whereby you cook it to be extremely soft,
so they can just chew,
and then you can just swallow it. So once you are changing the taste every time. And another thing, yes, please, you can, if you're trying to introduce a new meal to the child, ensure you are consistent with it. You can't just introduce a new meal to the child today and then use you by tomorrow you not bring it up again, and then when it's not 3 days later you're not bringing.
It's looking strange to him.
Exactly. So when you take the child to the school, when the child sees his peers eating during break time, snack time, he or she is encouraged to want to. This is something that I've seen work. I trust that you adapt this and it will work for you.
And this brings us to the end of today's episode. And I sincerely apologize to those who sent in their questions and we couldn't take it. I promise you, the next episode, we are going to be taking your questions. So, till we meet again next time, stay tuned. Don't forget to like, drop a comment, subscribe, and click the notification so that you'll get updated with whatever new videos we send. I remain your host, Mavi. Till we meet again, bye-bye!